Hey guys, meteorologist Chris Tomer here with this On the Snow Before You Go forecast. Here are my bullet points as we slide towards Christmas here with this update. We've got an East Coast storm system. It's strong, it's warm, it's windy, it's got a lot of rain. That'll continue through the 19th. I'll show you that in a second. Now, it's really just a waiting game out west. We're getting blasted with this abnormally warm air. There is some action that'll be moving into California, 1218 through 1220, but I'll warn you, the snow levels are going to be very high, 9 to 10,000 feet, which means you got to be above 9 to 10,000 to really get the true accumulation. And there could be some moderate to heavy accumulation, but it's going to be very high up there. In Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, Montana, I just don't have a lot. There's nothing major on the horizon for those states. There is some light snow on or after 1220, and I'll show you that coming up in the forecast. But the exception is going to be Colorado, New Mexico, even southern Utah, Brian Head, for example. There's a storm system and energy that will set up around the Four Corners, southern Colorado, southeast Colorado will get a low, potentially spins up around 1224, 1225. So that would be the bright spot. I'll show you what I'm thinking for those areas in just a few. I want to show you my odds of best snow, my spider chart next 5 to 7 days. So more purple, higher on the web, better chances, better odds of snowfall. So that's southern Colorado, that's northern New Mexico, that's the higher elevations of the Sierra, Mammoth, and just those higher peaks up and down the Sierra. That's going to be Whistler, Blackcomb, that's going to be BC in general. I think you have a better chance of seeing snow with a rich flow of moisture in those areas. So they're all higher on the web in this update. Let me show you what we're looking at right now. So this is water vapor satellite imagery, and this is that East Coast storm system. You can see this area of low pressure. It's very intense, and it's moving straight up the eastern seaboard. It's got a lot of wind, a lot of rain, and zero cold air. So that's the big issue. Imagine if we actually had a sizable front associated with this in cold air, we'd be talking about significant snow, but that's just not the case. Let me show you the western setup here. Here comes our trough. That's going to be pushing that precip through the Sierra. But again, all the cold air, and let me show you how this is represented, is all up here. It's all bottled up into Canada because that's where the northern branch is up there. It's bottling it up. Everything we've got down here is being supported by the southern branch. So we're getting blasted by all this Pacific warm air. But that is a player in the forecast, this area of low pressure. There's also another area of low pressure back here that will slide in and become more of a southern track area of low pressure. So that's all on the horizon. Let me show you what the forecast radar and satellite look like. So this is Monday at 6 a.m. All right, here we go. By the time we get into the afternoon, you can see that precip hitting the Sierra. And again, you're going to have to be above 9 or 10,000 to really get the appreciable accumulation. So by the time we get into Tuesday morning, that's your setup. Still precip hitting the Sierra. Little pieces of it will get moved into the interior states. Here's 1220. Another area of low pressure hitting California. Some of that energy begins to dive south. There's 1222 in the morning. You can see it moving through Arizona and southern Utah. Another area of energy dives out of the Pacific Northwest. You can see it coming down through Washington State, Whistler, and parts of Oregon and northern California. What may happen is that piece may then run through Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, and merge with that energy that's to the south in Arizona and New Mexico. And that's how we could see a larger area of low pressure spin up in southern Colorado around 1224 and 1225. All right, let me take you back. I want to show you the jet stream setup here. So this is 1218. On 1218, you can still see that trough swinging into California with that energy and that precip. But notice the northern branch, the jet's way up into Canada. That's what's bottling up all the cold air. Here is a 1225, so this is Christmas. A couple of things happening. We've got a lot of southern jet support, but we've also got a jet streak with the northern branch coming in. And that's what could help deliver some colder air down the road. But this is the setup on Christmas. Let me show you what the forecast, and notice with this jet stream that the southern branch is pretty active over southern Colorado, northern New Mexico. That's where we could have that area of low pressure spinning up, and this is what it could look like. This is the forecast radar on 1225. This would be probably a worst case scenario, assuming everything comes together, that we get this would actually happen. You can see that snow in Colorado, northern New Mexico, snow coming through Wyoming, coming out of Utah. Now, it's possible this doesn't happen at all. It's possible those two areas of energy do not merge, and we get just a minor wave with light snow that comes across Colorado and New Mexico. That's also possible. Again, this is way out there. This is just one extreme potential, one possibility. So as far as totals go, 1218 through 1225. This assumes best case, or if you will, worst case scenario, that low develops and we get the snow in Colorado and New Mexico and southern Utah. You can see the potential. Obviously, this would be, you would want to go to southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, southern Utah for the best skiing, 1224, 1225. And there's going to be snow in California and the Sierra with a couple of different waves coming across, but again, you're going to have to be above 9,000 for the most part to get the best accumulations. Only light snow for Idaho, the Wasatch, Montana. In the Pacific Northwest, if you're at higher elevations, you're going to have more snow than what's shown here. This is just a mid-mountain estimate. So if you're going higher on Baker, higher on Rainier, you're going to have more accumulation, obviously. BC does fairly well, especially you can see those areas of purple, in those purple shaded areas. Whistler, higher up, does fairly well with accumulation. Here's the Northeast. And I really just don't have much here. You can see 0 to an inch for most places. There's just so much warm air with this storm system as it tracks up through the Northeast. And then it's pretty dry over Christmas. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in here. This is the On the Snow Before You Go forecast. Take care.